Hello, good morning everybody. It is Saturday morning and we have beautiful weather today. I don't know where this weather was last weekend when we were in Chestertown, but anyway, it's nice out today. So Paul and I are about to go for a hike in Rock Creek Park and I'm gonna take you with us. I don't know what my hair is doing right now. Not once in my life have I managed to look cute in a baseball cap, but as you see, I keep trying. Yeah, we're gonna go for a hike in Rock Creek Park. We are gonna go from where we live in the Van Ness area to Adams Morgan. So we're gonna walk by the zoo, though we won't see any animals, but we are gonna walk by the zoo and then we'll probably end up just doing a little bookshop browsing and having a coffee in Adams Morgan, which is a neighborhood we really enjoy hanging out in. So come along with us. So we're at the zoo now. We're not actually gonna go to the zoo, even though it's a perfect day for it. We are gonna go to Adams Morgan and get some coffee. But the reason we're not going to the zoo today is because we're probably gonna do it next week, which is my birthday week. So that's when we're gonna go to the zoo and we're gonna try and see that baby elephant. A baby elephant was born at the National Zoo this spring, and we haven't seen her yet, and we would love to see little Lin Mai. That's her name. I'm sure there's a line a mile long to see the baby, but we're gonna get in that line, I think, Tuesday, a week from the day that I'm posting this vlog, which is my actual birthday. So I think that's the plan. So possibly stay tuned for that. sugar or salt on top?
I'm thinking that's, I don't know.
It's hard to say, isn't it?
It's been close to a year.
That's definitely honey on the outside. Honey glaze.
August. Yeah, but I started in May. Yeah. I started at the end of May. I can't believe I basically walked in.
Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday now, the next day, and I did not buy anything at Lost City Books, even though I was sorely tempted by several items I saw there. But there's a couple of reasons for that. One, my birthday is coming up next week, and I will probably be treating myself quite a bit then. But then the main reason is really that I already have a pretty enormous stack of books lined up for me to read. I don't really need any new reading at this point, even though I probably will get myself something next weekend. So today I want to talk about summer reading because I love summer reading. I don't know about you, but it just, every time summer rolls around, I feel like accumulating a big stack of books and just plowing through it over the course of the summer. It kind of takes me back to childhood. Yeah, I just wanted to talk through my stack of summer reading books. I probably won't be able to get through all of these books over the course of the summer. I would have to read a lot. So I'm just going to show you the books in my pile. And I would love to know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. That might help me in figuring out what order I want to go in. But these are the books in no particular order. As you know, if you've been on my channel, I am reading American literature this year. American literature, American history. And that's just because it is the semi-quincentennial, the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And just kind of in celebration of that, I wanted to focus this year on American literature specifically, and American history. I've got my coffee here. I just woke up. If I seem a little unfocused, it's because I haven't actually drunk my coffee. Yeah, more coffee would be good. First, The Big Sleep by Raymond Chandler. This is one of Paul's books. I think he's read it, but I have not. And I love mysteries, so there's absolutely no excuse for my not having read this. I've seen the movie, and I love film noir. So I just haven't read a lot of hard-boiled detective fiction, but it is such a, to me, iconic American genre, like subgenre of mysteries. That, yeah, I really want to read this. And I think this will be a good summer read, too. It's not quite as heavy as a lot of the other books I've picked. These are in no particular order, by the way. They're in the order that they stack nicely on my bedside table. So the next, another one that falls under Paul's section of the bookcase, and that is Walden by Thoreau. It's Walden and other writings, actually, but Walden is what I feel like I should have read by this point in my life, particularly because I enjoy nature writing a lot, and I have read, I think, 1 or 2 books inspired by Walden. Like, I read as a teenager and absolutely loved Pilgrim at Tinker Creek by Annie Dillard, which is heavily influenced by Walden. So I just feel like I should have read this by now. This copy is pretty beat up, and it's got like somebody's little sticky notes in it. I don't think they're Paul's. I think they might have been his dad's. Anyway, I think Paul inherited this book. Yeah, I don't actually know the origin of this copy. He was saying he might get me a nicer copy of this to read, but I kind of like the sense of somebody loving this book, and that being why it's so beat up. Then next we have On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I've never really read anything from this generation of American literature. The Beats, I think. Is Kerouac one of the Beats? I don't know. Anyway, I know this is an iconic book, the iconic American road trip book. Yeah, it's another one that I feel like I should have read by now, but just haven't gotten around to. All right, next, this is another one of Paul's. I combed through our bookshelves looking for books that were written by American authors that were famous and that I had not yet read. And a lot of them happen to be Paul's books. Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote. Never read any Truman Capote, and I know he's an extraordinary writer. I've seen the movie of this, and I know that the book is quite different, so I don't feel that it's been spoiled for me at all by the movie. I think I'd actually prefer to read In Cold Blood, but this is the one we have. So this is the Truman Capote that is on our shelves. So rather than buy something new or check it out from the library, I thought I would just go ahead and give this a try. And if I like it, then I can also read In Cold Blood. This one I picked up a few months ago at Capitol Hill Books over in Eastern Market. And it's The Heart is a Lonely Hunter by Carson McCullers. I don't know anything about this book except that it takes place during the Great Depression. And it's by a very, very young woman author. Carson McCullers was all of 23 years old when this book was published. Very impressive for a 23-year-old to write something that, is still being read generations later. Tells an unforgettable tale of moral isolation in a small southern mill town in the 1930s. Richard Wright was astonished by McCullers' ability, quote, to rise above the pressures of her environment and embrace white and black humanity in one sweep of apprehension and tenderness. Anyway, I think it sounds good, but like I said, I don't really know anything about it. So let me know if you've read it and what you thought. I also wanted to read a sci-fi novel, American sci-fi, and I've never read any Octavia Butler before, but this is another one from Paul's section of the bookcase, Parable of the Sower. I think this one sounds interesting because it takes place actually now-ish. Like it starts in 2024 and ends in 2027. So I believe this came out in the 90s. I should just look at the copyright. Yeah, copyright 1993. So speculative fiction about the era we're living in right now, and it features global climate change and economic crises. It says, when global climate change and economic crises lead to social chaos in the early 2020s, California becomes full of dangers, from pervasive water shortages to masses of vagabonds who will do anything to live to see another day. The New Yorker says, in the ongoing contest over which dystopian classic is most applicable to our time, Octavia Butler's Parable books may be unmatched. So it just sounds like an eerily prophetic vision of, this moment that we are living in. Then this is a really hefty one. This is almost 600 pages, and I started this book a couple of years ago, and I got maybe 100 pages in, and I was really enjoying it when, as so often happens with me, I evidently bought another book and started reading that and set this one aside to pick up later and then never went back to it. East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I want to read this now because there's a Netflix adaptation of it coming soon. I don't know exactly when, but I've seen the trailer. But anyway, I do want to finish this book. I just haven't read much John Steinbeck, and I feel, again, like I should have. I was assigned to read The Pearl in 7th grade, and I hated every word of it. And I just think that sometimes school ruins an author for you, unfortunately. That's the opposite of what school is intending to do, but there it is. Sometimes they just assign something at the wrong moment and force you to read something that you're not actually ready for. And I hated The Pearl, and therefore I hated John Steinbeck for decades, based on that one tiny book. But anyway, I want to read this. I also want to read The Grapes of Wrath, because I asked Paul recently what his favorite classic is, and that's the answer he came up with. I try to read books that are important to the people who are important to me. So yeah, particularly if I enjoy East of Eden, I will definitely then pick up The Grapes of Wrath. Only 2 more, but they're long. You'll know if you watched my video from last weekend that I bought the autobiography of Mark Twain when I was in Chestertown visiting my in-laws. And I I would really like to read this summer. And then finally, if you watched my, not previous video, but the one before that, you'll know that I recently picked up this biography of John Lewis by David Greenberg. This is the one book that I absolutely must read by the end of the year in order to cross an item off my bucket list challenge. These other ones, I think most of them qualify as literary classics. Really, I think all of them qualify as literary classics. You know, I've already read a literary classic, which was on my bucket list challenge. I read Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin. So I've already done that one. These are just bonus books. But I have not yet read a political biography, and that is an item on my bucket list challenge that I really want to do this year. So I really want to read this book about John Lewis. I'm just a John Lewis fan. I don't know enough about him, but I am a fan of what I do know about him. You know, I know he's a politician. He was a politician that I admired, and more than that, he was a civil rights icon and hero. I don't know how to put it. He's one of those people that, like, I'm proud to have been his contemporary for a little while. You know, I'm proud to have shared the earth with him for a little while. But anyway, I'm looking forward to learning more about his life, and I think this is going to be a really fascinating read. So that is my summer reading list. Let me know if you've read any of them and if there's any of them that you especially would recommend. Maybe I'd put those at the front of the line. I think I will sign off for this week. And thank you, as always, for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed yet, please don't forget to click that subscribe button so that you will see my next videos. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Again, we're going to be celebrating my birthday next weekend, so we've got some fun plans to share with you. And I wish you a wonderful week till then. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good week until next Tuesday. Bye!